Welcome to Caucus. I'm Steve Adubato. We're about to introduce a young lady who is fighting the fight every day for a lot of women and their families who need protection. She is Helen R. And she is the Vice President of Development, Jersey Battered Women's Service. Is it Frois?
Frois. Yep,
which comes from where?
FWA, from France.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm from Jersey. It's sort of the same.
Yeah, I'm from California, so nowhere close.
So, you know, it's so interesting. Your organization, and I know it well to disclose, we have a mutual friend, our good friend Tracy, who brought people together for a terrific fundraiser.
Yes, last Thursday.
For your organization. For those who don't know, what does your organization do and for whom do you do it?
So we are the domestic violence agency based out of Morris County, serving victims of domestic violence who live or work in the greater Morris County area. How
serious is the problem?
Steve, it's quite serious. 1 out of 4 women at some point in her life is going to be a victim of domestic violence. 1 out of 8 men and 1 out of 3 teens are currently in relationships that are unhealthy.
Do most people, Helen, know the person who is perpetrating this violence against them?
Most often, yes. It's domestic violence is really defined by intimate partner violence. So whether it's their partner, live-in partner, who they have a relationship with, intimate partner violence is really.
So it's interesting. People talk about violence and worry about fear of strangers, fear of, quote, immigrants, whatever. And the most dominant prevalent violence is with, in fact, the home. The people that you know, absolutely. Those people that you trust the most, that you share your life experiences with, oftentimes have children with, they are oftentimes the ones that are hurting the most. So as we put up your website and let people know there's a 24-hour hotline, what is that hotline for? Someone calls, they feel they're in jeopardy, something is happening. Yeah. They're fearful. They are, in fact, and we not only have clients that call into the helpline, but it's friends, it's family members, it's coworkers, it's neighbors, it's anyone in the community that's looking for information. You know, they might be in that situation where they think there's something going on with their coworker, or they hear something amongst their neighbor and they don't really know how to help. And so they can call into the helpline 24/7 and talk to someone about what those next steps are. If you are in need of services, you're a woman or a man that's in need of services, want to really identify what is this that's going on in my relationship, we're there for you 24/7. As a matter of fact, the JBWS helpline answers about 6,500 calls a year. 6,500. Mm-hmm. What would cause someone who is in danger, at risk, a victim of domestic violence to not call? Oh, I think it's fear. Number one, fear of what happens when their abuser finds out that they're seeking services. I mean, Steve, the issue of domestic violence is all about power and control. One person's power and control over the other. So at the point in time when the abuser thinks that their partner is trying to leave them, that's when they feel the least in control, right? And so violence may escalate. But I think people also don't seek services because they're embarrassed of the stigma associated still with the issue of domestic violence. To their friends and oftentimes their family, the world around them, everything appears great in their relationship when it's really not. Curious about this. So the shame, still there? The stigma, still there? Sure. After all the cases we've heard of? Yeah, and I think certainly in New Jersey, where people assume that people in northern New Jersey are educated and have money and work at Fortune. We're close enough to New York, right? That's supposed to mean something. Absolutely. What does it mean? Well, the issue of 1 in 4, as I mentioned before, is the statewide statistic. It's also the national statistic around the issue of domestic violence. So it's a prevalent issue for sure. The Me Too movement, the Judge Cavanaugh hearings. He sits on the Supreme Court now. Is it relevant to this discussion at all, and if so, how? Issues like... Or are we conflating things? Well, I think the issue around the Me Too movement, if anything, what it's done is raise awareness around the issue and around the conversation, right? So any opportunity, even the horrific murders and cases that you make reference to that we've been hearing about lately, they all open up the opportunity for people to have discussions,
right? So just even being here today is raising the awareness around the issue of domestic violence so that people do feel comfortable talking about it. You know, one of the things we do at JBWS is we try to go into corporations to talk to their HR folks about the issue so that people around coworkers can feel comfortable talking about the issue. We're in schools.
How do you talk to kids about this?
So at JBWS, we have a great dating abuse prevention program. We actually have a team of coworkers that go into the high schools, the colleges, and universities, and many of the junior highs that teach age-appropriate curriculum around healthy relationships, dating abuse prevention, and bystander intervention.
Two things. Bystander intervention is what? A, B, junior highs as well, or is that too soon?
No, not really. At the junior high level, we're talking about safe relationships and more about boundaries and bullying and what it means if you see something. You know, you hear see something, say something, but what happens when you're noticing that your friends on social media are either starting to withdraw or their new boyfriend or girlfriend is really having abusive tendencies and behaviors, is maybe stalking them, is not allowing them to come out and hang out with you anymore. What does that all mean and what do you do?
You know, it's interesting. You're a nonprofit. We're a not-for-profit. That's what happens in public broadcasting. Not-for-profit does not mean entrepreneurial and running a tight business. You guys run a tight business. You've been recognized. By whom and for what?
Yes. So just this year, JBWS was recognized by Charity Navigator as one of the top 10 nonprofits in the state of New Jersey out of more than 40,000. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I stepped on that. Over
40,000 registered nonprofits in the state of New Jersey. That's on their site.
How does that happen?
So, you know, I think it's about our efforts by our leadership team, by our board of directors, by our volunteers, and certainly by our donors to make sure that JBWS is a well-run organization, but that our fundraising portfolio is really diverse. It's so important. I mean, you know, government funds around domestic violence can wax or wane depending on the political winds, right? So it's important for us over our 42-plus year history to make sure that we have individual supporters, corporate support, family foundations, that we do fundraising events out and among the community.
We were at a wine tasting.
We were last Thursday. That's fun, yeah. So events like those not only raise much-needed funds, but they help to raise awareness as well.
You're doing important work with your colleagues every day on behalf of women, children, others. Men are victims as well.
Absolutely.
And I just can't imagine what things would be without an organization like yours.
Well, thank you.
Come back and keep us posted.
Thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Helen.
Take care.
We'll be right back right after this.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Englewood Health, the Russell Berry Foundation, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, Summit Medical Group, Valley Bank, and by Adler Aphasia Center. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.